I do really love this movie. I genuinely love this movie, yeah. It's been a labor of love for me for a long time.
Deadpool.
Trying to get it made for 11 years is tough, and there's lots of times I gave up. There's lots of times I gave up and thought, this is never gonna happen. After our test footage was created, then the test footage just sat at the studio for almost 4 years, and nobody even got back to us or talked to us about it. So I gave up then, and then when it leaked onto the internet, it was like new love again. It was amazing. You know, I was introduced to him about 11 years ago, and I just fell in love with everything about him. He's the most unique character in the X-Men universe. I think the most unique character in the Marvel universe. He knows he's in a comic book movie. He's very meta. He's very funny, very violent at the same time. So there's all these different traits that I just don't usually see in superhero movies. Particularly the fact that a lot of superhero movies are very serious and they take themselves very seriously. And Deadpool, he takes nothing seriously, and I like a movie like this that still has an amazing amount of action, but at the same time doesn't take itself too seriously.
Mm-hmm. And do you take yourself seriously?
Never, no. Pretty much never, no.
Al cinema.
Well, I mean, those are traits that I've always imbued in everything I do. I mean, since I was a kid, I always filtered pain through humor, and I think Deadpool does that. And I sometimes don't know where Deadpool ends and I begin. We're sort of sometimes the same thing, but that works really well when you're playing a character you love this much. I would have played him the exact same way. I've always known exactly how it needed to be played, and that was, I think, the main reason that I've wanted to get it made for so long, is that I always had a very specific idea of what Deadpool was. So to do him in X-Men Origins Wolverine was both fun, because I love working with my friends. Hugh Jackman's a friend of mine. I love working with these guys. But the studio really pushed for something that I didn't think was right in terms of the character, how he evolves in that movie. The beginning was fine, which is Wade Wilson and wisecracking and all that stuff, which was great. But toward the end, I was a little frustrated with that. And I also always thought that we needed to do the movie in a little bit more of a mature way, in the sense that, it's not necessarily aimed at little kids. It's aimed at an older audience as well, because so in the United States, the movie's rated R, and that was important to me because it gave us as much freedom as possible, and again, separated us from every other comic book movie. I know that the studio would really like to put Deadpool in everything, so I can't imagine that we're gonna let that happen, though. I'm very protective of Deadpool, and I'd like to see it handled very carefully, that's all.
Blake, what did she say when she first saw you with the makeup on?
She loved it. She loves that world. I mean, she's a big fan of Bill Corso, who's the makeup artist who designed the makeup in the movie, and she thought it was great. My daughter cried, which was awful.
She cried?
Yeah, she did. She cried. Well, because it just looked so scary. But I had the same voice as Daddy, but not the same face anymore, so.